You lost.
Bleep me out.
If you take a picture of a glass, it can be a glass bulb or any glass, it will create a spectrum. And that spectrum is created by the flash. The flash is putting out all of the generic white light the human eye technically needs. The problem with this is that the camera designed in your cell phones and your digital cameras and all that stuff, your video cameras, your silicon chip can only see so much. So what is happening is that we're throwing 7 colors at this glass. This glass is going to reflect all those 7 colors back to the silicon chip. The silicon chip is going to record those colors. And every time I'm taking a picture of this, if I just move this, you know, because of my lighting source, just a little bit here and a little bit there, it's going to change the prismatic effect of the object. So the colors are going to change. So I'm going to sit there going, well, if I set it over here, I get a green and blue. But if I set it over here, I get a red and yellow.
But what if we're not taking a picture of a bottle? What if it's just floating around?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So what is happening is that an orb, if you take an orb, the light is going into the orb. It's actually, there's several different layers to an orb. It's like an onion, several different layers. The light's going in, bouncing around, and then it comes back toward the silicon chip.
Like the bottle.
Right, like exactly like the bottle. That's my example that I brought with me.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
And so the refraction of that light back into the silicon chip is what gives us the color spectrum. Now, what does this mean? What does it mean is that the light bouncing back is bouncing back on a solid prismatic form of energy. We call this energy plasma energy. And the reason why it's in different colors is because why? We're throwing different colors at it. So if it comes out a little more red, or the anatomy inside is a little bit different, it's going to come back a little different. So I've had ghosts or orbs that look like they look rusty. They look, you know, red and orange and rusty. I've had others look brilliant white. Okay, so
and that's because of their different layers.
That's because they're different entities. And they're different entities.
Well,
different
they're
layers.
made of different.
Different energy levels. Okay. So what happens is just like if I took a picture of this glass, I would have to say, well, has the glass changed? Well, the glass has not changed. The lighting source that refracts off the glass has changed. So if we look at what we think of photonic physics, is that we have to understand that this bottle is designed a certain way. And the light source is changing because the silicon chip is changing to adapt for that light differential. So I can sit there and say, are orbs real and solid? Yes, they are. You know, absolutely. Are they supernatural? Well, they were in the 20th century. In the 21st century, like angels and everything else, they're becoming more normal. That is just the way things are. It's like clouds. You know, it's like clouds. You know, 500 years ago, they were fluffy little cotton balls that floated around the earth, and no one knew what they were. And then they would rain and pee on us, and we would rejoice into the rain and pee of these, you know, fluffy cloud balls, right? Well, we now know they're clouds filled with water,
right? So
we call them clouds, and we actually have names for different types of clouds. So the difference is that we're now looking at them with the technology to understand really what they are. So what we have done at Lynch Scientific and Paravision is that we have taken away all the 7 colors of light, and we shoot 1 nanometer of one light source at that object. So I don't
have more integrity with what you're shooting.
Exactly.
And what comes back at you.
Exactly. So if I send out one thing, it's going to come back as one thing.
Right.
There can't be
so you can more
7 other
clearly
colors.
identify.
Right.
Wow.
Bingo. So I can clearly identify what's going on. So then what I do, I drop it into, I'm not going to say Photoshop, I'm going to throw it into a photo manipulator, and all I'm doing is adjusting the contrast and brightness. I'm not changing anything with the emulsion or the resolution.
But you can more clearly see what you're looking at.
Exactly, and as I change that resolution, I start walking backwards into the object and realizing it's 3 dimensionals.
Really?
It's 3-dimensional sphere, and that's why we call them orbs. And Dave Oyster, that's his real name, Dave Oyster, was a photographer back in the day.
Sounds amazing.
And I know that I'm that old. So if you ever look it up, type in Dave Oyster and ghostweb or something.com, and he coined the term orb.
Oh, okay.
Coming from the term of these globes that fit around, or these orbs glass that fit around these ceiling fan type things. And he coined that term, and it has stuck. And I use the term as orb and or as bubbles or whatever. And they all have the same anatomy. They all have a central matrix. They're all designed the same way. And if you see them in video, you'll come to the realization these things are solid real.